Welcome back to our channel, where we update the exciting, thrilling and unforgettable details of the hit movie Beyond the Gates. This week, all the secrets that Martin has tried to hide for more than a decade finally surface, leading to a series of horrifying events, pushing everyone into a spiral of guilt, betrayal, and revenge. Martin never expected that the secrets he thought were buried forever under the dust of time could be rekindled by the very colleague he once considered the most harmless person, Ted. For more than 10 years, Martin has lived with a new identity, a seemingly peaceful life built from the ashes of a bloody past in New Orleans. There, he was once the central character in an unsolved murder case. At that point, all the evidence pointed to Martin, forcing him to consider the most extreme option: fake his own death. Disappear from the map of life, cut off all ties with his old self and start over as if he had never existed. Martin succeeded, at least he thought so. He moved to Fairmont, changed his name, built a new career, gradually creating a perfect cover with no loopholes. But he underestimated Ted's patience and wisdom. No one knows when Ted began to suspect Martin. Maybe it was a flash of panic when he accidentally mentioned New Orleans during an intimate lunch. Or Martin hurriedly left a meeting when he heard that a car with the same old license plate as the victim's car had appeared in the city. Whatever the start, Ted quietly begins a months-long investigation, quietly gathering clues from the smallest of clues: old archives, police reports, travel logs, hospital records, even anonymous posts on unsolved crime forums. As the picture begins to emerge, Ted is stunned to discover that Martin is the man whose name appeared on a death certificate more than a decade ago, a death ruled an accidental drowning but whose body was never found. That death, now, is just a cover for an elaborate escape plan. With hard evidence in hand, a copy of the medical examiner's records, facial recognition software comparisons, even testimony from a witness who saw Martin in New Orleans the night of the murder, Ted becomes dangerous. There was no doubt that he was keeping a secret that could ruin a person's life, but could also give him control. Martin felt the ground fall from under his feet when he discovered the documents hidden in Ted's locked drawer, not with the police, not with any authority, but in the hands of someone who could use them for any purpose. Martin tried to keep his cool, to find a way to turn the tables. He met Ted with a calm exterior, a familiar smile. But inside he was full of calculations. He needed to know what Ted wanted: money, power, or simply a sense of control. But before the confrontation could end, Ted disappeared. There was no warning, no message, the phone was disconnected, the house was empty as if it had never been lived in. The police were called 3 days later, but found no signs of forced entry, no signs of a struggle, no signs of anything out of the ordinary. But Martin knew. He knew something was terribly wrong. And he knew that, in a world where secrets come with a price, Ted's disappearance was no accident. The real shock came the next morning, when a resident discovered a body floating on the shore of Fairmont Crest Lake. The body was bloated from being submerged in water for so long, and the face was so badly damaged that identification was difficult. The police identified him as a middle-aged man, about 6 feet tall, wearing a silver-gray shirt, with no identification. But the strangest, or rather, horrifying, thing was in the victim's right hand. Struggling to open his shriveled hand, the coroner found a crumpled piece of paper with a name written in water-stained black ink: Martin. Not a fake name, but his real name, the one he had buried deep in his old life in New Orleans. This information sent Martin into a state of panic. He knew it wouldn't take long for the police to connect the dots: a mysterious man who had died of unknown causes, and a piece of paper with the name of an individual who didn't exist on any legal documents in Fairmont. Worst of all, Martin couldn't prove his innocence. There was no alibi, no witnesses. And an examination of Ted's phone, if it still existed, the string of text messages, calls, even the audio recording of their last conversation would make him prime suspect. Martin is torn between running away again or staying and facing it. But this time, things are different. Last time, he ran away to avoid being wrongly convicted, but this time, if he runs away, he will make himself a criminal. More importantly, his new identity is now a reality. He has friends, a stable job, even a woman who loves him sincerely and knows nothing about his dark past. Running away will not only destroy everything again, but also put an end to his life. But if he stays, the truth may be revealed, and this time, there will be no second chances. In the days that follow, the police expand their investigation, reconstructing the final timeline of Ted's appearances. Several co-workers reported that Ted had seemed anxious in recent weeks, often losing focus at work, and occasionally asking about New Orleans as if it were his old home. A close friend revealed that Ted had said he would turn the town upside down if anything fishy came up about Martin. These small clues began to paint a suspicious picture, but not enough to indict. However, the discovery of a note bearing Martin's name made the police pay closer attention to this man, whose incomplete record, no trace of education, no childhood friends, looked as if he had fallen from the sky 10 years ago. Martin realized that he was running out of time. The things he had tried to protect, the lies he had carefully built layer by layer, were now crumbling under the pressure of the truth and the dead body. He had no idea who had killed Ted, if it was Ted, or who had put the note in the dead man's hand. Maybe it was a warning. A message from a third party who knew everything. Maybe Ted wasn't dead, but was setting things up to push Martin into a corner. Or worse, maybe the past never left him, but just quietly followed him all these years, waiting for the right moment to swallow everything up. Whatever the reason, Martin knows one thing: he can't continue living with secrets. But telling the truth means losing everything. And between the two paths, living a lie with the fear of being caught, or facing justice with the faint hope of forgiveness, Martin knows he has no choice but to fight, at all costs. There are many mysteries waiting to be revealed in the next episodes of Beyond the Gates. Don't miss any details. Follow and subscribe to our channel to update the latest, most exciting and shocking developments next week.